Welcome back, Cleaning Nation. Lindsay here, still at the Next Level event, the live event, and we're back for a mini podcast with Claire Montgomery. Super excited to have her on because you've only been on one podcast.
Way back in the
with
beginning.
Suzanne. We gotta get you on with Mike, but for now, you have to settle for me.
Right,
I'm sorry.
I'll take you.
Claire, you've been with us for
almost a year.
Almost a year, and Claire. We give awards out at our events, and it's so funny because we get in arguments like, I want Claire for this award, I want her for marketing, I want her for this, because you're a rock star.
I didn't know that. That's very heartwarming.
So shout out to you. Just had to give you props. That was not rehearsed. So I wanted to get Claire on because yesterday we were going over takeaways, like your biggest takeaway of the day, and you said some really profound stuff that I'm just gonna have you elaborate on. She's like, you're just setting me up for disaster. No, you had a phrase, looking for the proof, and I was just blown away by the mindset work you've been doing, because I always think of you as such a tactical, like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna do this for my ads. So tell us what looking for the proof means, and just expand on what you talked about.
Yeah, I think it's like easy to feel profound, or to feel like, I think some of that stuff comes to you at these events when you're around like just so many inspiring people. So I just want to say that first, because it only really came to me in the last like couple days of being at the event. But I think the biggest takeaway in the last year, and even in these events, is a little bit more around mindset. Like, even just for me in the last year, like, you can see all these like tactical things of like, yeah, I've got my business to here and here and here, but I seem to always reach a point where there's like a mental barrier as to why you can't succeed. And for everybody that's a little bit different, but for me right now, it's kind of taking my business to the next level, and like hoping to build like a little bit more wealth, and like be just like a little bit more conscious about how I want to live my life. And Brene Brown has a really awesome quote. She has a couple really great books. But her quote that I kept coming back to was, if you look for proof that you don't belong, you will always find that proof.
If you look for proof that you don't belong, you'll always find that proof.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's just, I think everybody comes to these events and it's like, oh my gosh, like if I could only do this, or like we're surrounded by so many like really inspirational business owners, and it's like, it made me think of a podcast with a different coach talking to this like really successful entrepreneur, and he said, you know, at what point do you feel like you'll have made it? And she's like, oh, when I get to like X amount of dollars. And it was something like obscene, like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he said, at what point do you think you'll have made it? And she said, this number. And he said, why? And she's like, well, because at that point, I can kind of say to all those people that doubted me, like, I've made it. Like, you guys are wrong.
Yeah.
And his response to that was, but like, what makes you think you haven't made it now? And I think that is really brought me back to that Brene Brown quote, where it's like, we all belong, like we've all made it in some capacity, and I think we don't take enough time to reflect on, like, we're there, you have made it.
Right. So a couple of things that you just made me think of. So in this context, saying you don't belong, it could be applied to a lot of things in life, right? Certain group of people, family, but this is almost like a level of success, if you will. Like, you belong in that tier. Is that how you're kind of viewing that?
Yeah, and it looks different for everybody, but for me it was like, oh, like I can justify getting to this level of success because I own a cleaning company, or because I've been doing it for so long. And so I think the real mindset work is, well, what makes you think that you don't deserve that next goal?
So look for the proof.
Yeah,
you're already here, you're already doing it. And the second thing I was going to say is, at these events, in the last year or so, what we've been doing, filling Clean Nation, that kind of, I think, helped bring this up in a lot of people, not just you, is we actually take videos of our clients for you guys of where you were at last event, and then for 4 months later, I am going to be here. And you can, by documenting it, you have that proof. It's right there.
Yeah,
right?
and I think that's like the flip that could be really helpful is that if you look for proof that you don't belong, you'll discover that you don't belong. But it's like, if that can be true, then the opposite can be true.
Exactly.
It's like, if you look for proof that you belong, you're gonna find that too, and that that's gonna like help you. Like, that's just gonna help support you in every aspect of your life.
Right. Yeah. And I think what I was getting at is like, that's actual proof that helps you realize that each of you, like, hey, I actually did this thing. I should really get her on the podcast, but Caitlin that's here and her husband at the last event, they said, we are in our house at the next event. We purchased a house, and it's so awesome because they came here and they're like, we're in our house. We did it. That's the proof. So
yeah, and like
cool.
you do belong. Like, everybody in that group, or everybody in like our in Cleaning Nation, and like the people at the events, you do belong. Like, there's no like tier at which you like made it and you belong in that room. It's like, we belong because we haven't given up on ourselves, and because we believe that we have like worth as individuals. And so that statement can be applicable to like anybody, but it's just not what we choose to focus on.
Right.
So I think that has inhibited me from really believing like that you deserve success, or that you deserve maybe like the next level of success that you've never entertained before. It's like, well, why wouldn't you belong there? Like, if you can identify other people that belong in that category or in that level of success, it's like, well, why not you? Like,
why not you?
Like,
That's good.
If they deserve it, what makes you different that you would be so undeserving?
Right. Claire.
That was a Suzanne thing. I should give props to Suzanne.
Yeah, we're gonna have to give this pass this episode along to her, because I'm sure she'll be proud.
Yeah, it was a good. Suzanne's been doing a lot of like awesome work around like, if you're gonna compare yourself in a negative aspect, like, that's a waste of energy. Like, compare yourself in the positive.
Yeah. And I think it was probably Suzanne today that she, or someone presenting, maybe even Mike, said, why not me? If that person can achieve that, why not me? And I just thought that was another good quote. Why not me? And it makes you ask better questions of yourself, like, yeah, why not me? Why in 4 months can't I buy a house and achieve this? I'm just using Caitlin's example. I don't know why.
No, it's true.
It was a good one.
Yeah, it's very, very true. We like put ourselves in little boxes, and it's just like, no, like, you belong. Like, no matter what your desire is, there's no reason why you wouldn't belong. Like, everybody has the capacity and the ability to belong, and in most cases you already belong. You just don't realize it. Yeah, you just haven't like accepted that for yourself. But you'll do it for other people, but you won't do it.
Isn't it amazing what we'll recognize in other people, but when we turn the mirror to ourselves, we don't see it? Yeah.
It's like another person that like speaker that I often listen to talks about that, like, why are we so quick to compliment other people, but then when people compliment us, we're like, oh, no. It's like, no, like, own it. Like, say thank you, like, recognize that, like, what you see in other people, people also see that in you, and you, like, it's not like shameful, and it's not prideful to say, like, thanks. Like,
thanks. I worked hard for that.
Yeah,
thank you.
Appreciate you saying that.
All right, Claire. Well, thank you for taking some time with me in Cleaning Nation. I feel like we should be like drinking wine.
I was cigars or something.
Yeah. I was gonna say
these are cigar chairs.
Yeah, these are cigar chairs. Thank you so much. I always think of you as tactical, organized, like. But I really appreciate seeing this side of you, this mindset, this focus come out. I know it's obviously there because you accomplished so much.
The tactical stuff is super helpful, and I thought that, like, yeah, that's all I have to do. But it really, like, especially with all the amazing coaches that we work with, the tactical stuff really and truly only gets you so far.
Right. Yeah. It can only, if your mind's not in the right place, to support you through that, because there's some massive changes you have to make for the tactical stuff, and if your mind's not there ready to do it and carry through, it's rough.
I would almost argue like the tactical stuff has purpose, but I would almost argue that like I probably could have been in a bit of a different place if I had focused on mindset first. It's almost like you have the ability to achieve a lot more if the mindset foundation is there.
Right.
Because then the tactical stuff, it's like you can figure it out.
Right.
But that mindset shift and that mental work is like, that's
the real work.
It's a muscle that a lot of people, including myself, don't have a habit of using. So.
All right. Well, we're going to end it on that note because that was amazing. Thank you so much. And Cleaning Nation, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Hey Clean Nation, Mike Camping here. One of my least favorite things about these podcasts are we found that people love the show and they love the information, but when I talk to you guys in person, stuff doesn't get done. People love the podcast, but they don't take any action. If you'd like to actually implement this and get this done in your world, we have a whole team of people that do exactly that. If you go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, you can book a time with either myself personally or one of our teammates to at least help you come up with a plan to actually implement and change your life. So if you want to go from getting these good ideas in your head to getting in your life, just book a free call with myself or my team, growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, and we can go from this one-to-many format to one-to-one and really get you some results. Excited to talk.
Hey Cleaning Nation, it's Lindsay here. I'm back for a quickie little mini podcast we're doing at the Next Level live event, and I am here with Diana Camacho.
Hey everyone.
And Diana, you have been a client with us for almost a year and a half?
2 years in September.
Wow. Okay, so she might actually be the current longest standing client out of the current group of people we have. So you survives. We give awards at the end of these events, and Diana's so advanced that she was gone when we went to give her award. So I just have to give you crap. So the reason I brought Diana on is because she came to me yesterday, and you were super pumped about your niche and how you really focused down on what you're concentrating on. So for Cleaning Nation, can you tell us, when you started with us, like what kind of clients were you taking, what were you specializing in, and then we'll go fast forward to now and what you're excited about.
Yeah, of course. So when I joined Grow My Cleaning Company, I had all types of clients. I just needed work, and then living in Los Angeles, we were going through the COVID lockdowns. So I wasn't very picky with clients in general. As I sat down with Mike and we went over my clients and my profit based on the different clients I had, we noticed that I had 2 private school clients. I had a higher profit margin for those.
Okay.
And they were actually a lot easier to manage. We had more service days throughout the month. Like our retention was really high in those because people had a Monday through Friday job, and it was just overall like easier. So he asked me to consider, just going and exploring that niche. So I spoke to Spencer during that time.
Okay, and Spencer's been on the podcast.
Yes.
Tons of times.
I'm sure he has. And he's been so helpful. I actually hopped on a call with him. I saw him at a live event.
I didn't know you hopped on a call with him. Very cool.
Yeah, so I spoke with him. He shared his experience, and he also services charter schools in his location, in his state. So I just decided to go for private schools in general, and I started asking for referrals. That's actually how my business grew. And it worked out. Like, I'm so happy with my private schools. The clients are so grateful. The community's amazing. We're able to give our staff like holidays off and, work around. A lot of our employees are moms. So when their kids don't go to school, they always have the option to stay home with their kids or to come and work, and adjust their schedule accordingly. So, it's been amazing. I
got questions for you.
Okay.
All right. So my first question is, from the time you started the coaching to the time, how long did it take you to narrow down that niche? Like, was it months, was it a couple of days, weeks? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so it did take a few months because I didn't want to just let go of my other clients.
That was my next question. Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't want to let go of my clients because they were already staffed. Mm-hmm. You know, it was already income I was expecting. So Mike just told me naturally they were going to fall off. So he was like, okay, give increases. And if these clients don't have the budget to pay your services, they're just gonna discontinue the service. So that's kind of how that panned out. Mm-hmm. So what I did, because I only have 2 clients that were private schools, I started with like 3 or 4 clients, and I gave those 3 or 4 clients raises.
Okay.
And you know, as I increased their price, the majority of them said no, but like maybe 1 or 2 did. They stuck around, and as I worked, I think within 1 year I gave 3 price increases.
Oh, so you just kept raising the prices until they were like no more?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
And the only reason I did that was because COVID in our area was it really affected a lot of things.
You're pretty locked down, right?
Yes, okay. We were locked down, and the minimum wage was just increasing crazy. We just had a lot of other factors that influenced that. Like in hindsight, it would have been best to just give 1 increase, but I think I wasn't at a place to have that confidence to just double my prices. Mm-hmm. So
you inched it up until you got comfortable. Okay, so it wasn't a super drastic overnight change where you just asked everyone that didn't fit your niche. You just increased the prices, and so you still made some good money probably while you were focusing. All right, so my next question is, you said you were getting most of the business from referrals. Is that still the case, or do you actively market towards private schools?
I've tried marketing. I haven't been very consistent with it. My business has grown solely on referrals.
Wow, so that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
Just noting that for Cleaning Nation.
Yeah.
It's a little disclaimer.
It is very rare.
Yeah.
And I think the best marketing I've done, because there's always marketing involved somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. Has been, my employees are very well trained. Okay. They're part of the private school community. I don't have very high turnover, so I have employees that have been working there from the start of the contract. Wow. So people like care and love them. And then I go visit my schools on a monthly basis, meaning I cultivate these relationships to where I don't even have to ask for referrals.
They willingly
they'll actually give me a call like, hey, could I give your number to this person? They're struggling. Like, I'm like, yeah, of course. So I think that's also a form of marketing. It's not necessarily very structured or anything, but that's what's worked for me. And the few marketing things I've implemented have been based off a Dream 100 strategy.
Okay. And can you briefly describe, like, 10 seconds what that is for Cleaning Nation that doesn't know that strategy?
Yeah, of course. So basically I picked 100 private schools in the area that I would love to have as clients, and I did this based on like the research in my industry. I go based off tuition, number of students, and like the actual size of the school, and then I stop by, take cookies, or send them an email and like find out more details about decision makers. What are their current cleaning, like what solution they're using for cleaning, and I just as of right now, I don't have structure in it, but there is a marketing plan that should be attached to that.
Right.
And basically you just target those, you nurture those relationships of people that would fit that ideal client.
So you're basically just getting to know them, and they recognize your face, know who you are, and eventually the idea is that they'll buy from you.
Yeah. I mean, if they ever need a service, I never like walk in just very aggressively. It's more like, hey, if you need any additional help,
I'm here. Yeah. So is that something you're starting to incorporate? Like you've started going out and targeting those, or is that like your next step?
I have around 10 schools that I've actively visited and keep up with. Most schools are already in contracts, or they have a team on site. So I mean, it's not necessarily like you could go and just, people are going to be like, oh yeah, I was needing cleaning. You know, people usually have a solution already. It's just about being patient and waiting for like either contracts to be up or retirement or, you know, anything.
It's playing a long game,
Yes.
the Dream 100. It's a little different. You're a different animal, commercial, but I think you're a great example for Cleaning Nation because you kind of go outside of what we coach a little bit, like working mostly on referrals, but you found something that works so well for you and what
Yes.
you want for your business. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think for you getting that clarity from the coaching and getting clear on what you want and what you want to target was more important than the method of making sure you follow. Would you say that's true for you?
Yeah, of course. Like, you know, I always use Mike's teachings as a foundation, and then, you know, I sprinkle my little like unique twist to things because, you know, at the end of the day, you do want your business to be unique and to have your personality in it. And all of these ideas, you know, I didn't even know how to bid properly when I joined Mike's program. When he said you should be making 25-30% profit, at that time I think it was 25, now it's 30. I was like, what? Like, all the research I've done shows that commercial cleaning companies make a 10%.
Interesting.
So his strategy was just so straightforward, and it made so much sense for me because the math is so easy. So now if I'm not making that profit, it's not worthwhile for me. You know, I'll still help and I'll still direct clients, you know, wherever they need to be directed, but I'm not gonna like adjust my prices to compete.
I love that. I love how clear you are and how confident you are now that you've established that and you just follow it. So kudos to you, Diana. I was teasing you from the get-go, but it's funny because you've just come so far that we really just see you at events and on some calls, and you hang out and inspire others. And
I mean,
it's great.
I love these events. You know, it just I love seeing the new faces, and I love the energy, you know, and everything that you guys provide for us. You guys are so generous, and you know, it's a good refresher all the time. You know, and I do always take information from the events, even though a lot of it is very, you know, it's a system, it works, like it's repetitive, but there's just times you really need to listen to it a few times.
All right, well, on that note, I'm going to sign off here with Diana. Thanks so much for hopping on with me.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. We'll see you next time, Cleaning Nation.
Hey, Cleaning Nation, if you dug the content you just got, we don't do any ads and I don't sell anything on this podcast, but if you would just subscribe, rate, and review, it would be huge and I'd be so appreciative. Not only is it going to help me, but you'll help other owners of cleaning companies across the world work less, make more, and get profitable. So if you appreciate the value we give, again, subscribe, rate, and review. It would mean the world to me. I'd really appreciate it, and we sure appreciate your time and attention.